Hey kids, I'm here with another Blackwing combo guide. There were a couple weird hands that I noticed that would open after Sharnga released, and I thought that it would be a good idea to update you all because, it's just important that I keep my comprehensive guides updated. My list hasn't changed much since the last time you saw it. Really, the only thing that changed was the sideboard. I've included a large investment for MathMac, not because MathMac is something I expect to be the best deck or even particularly amazing, but because if you go second against MathMac, you automatically lose the game. Because if they change Super Factorial to Simoon activation, they get to 4-for-1 you. And that's very rough. So we're playing 2 Baldrake and 3 Bell to stop the Super Factorial. These are the choices for stopping the Super Factorial for the simple reason that it's just the selection of cards that is the best suited for handling Super Factorial that also handles other matchups. For instance, Baldrake is pretty nice against, say, Bestial Dragon Lake. You can cut them on the Bellion. And Bell is good against Labyrinth. You can bring it in to beat Big Welcome. Also, in the main, we moved one of the third copy of Talents for a called by. Only really the Simoon line is like relatively immune to hand traps. Everything else is a little vulnerable, so I figured that I would actually start respecting them with called by, which is just such an insane card. And like at worst, it's just DD Crow at worst, right? And that's insane. DD Crow that negates. So this is the main deck and the side deck, all that. Let's get into the combos. This first combo showcases a 3-card combo that just takes Whirlwind, Auster, and either Harmattan or Vata. It doesn't matter which you open because you'll be finding the other with Whirlwind. So we're going to start things off with Whirlwind and then normal summon Auster. Whirlwind is then going to trigger to grab Vata. Vata is going to be specialed, and then we'll activate Vata to summon the Blackwing Dragon. Then we'll bounce back Whirlwind with Zephyros and go to Unimaru, which will become a level 2. This lets us go into Berea Storm, which will mill Shamal. Then we'll activate Whirlwind, special the Harmattan. Then go into Nuthung and chain block the Effective Burn with Shamal to add back Auster. We'll extra normal the Auster and chain block the Whirlwind by summoning back the Shamal. This gets us to Chinook. That will make Fuller Master, banish for Tax Dragon, and pass. This isn't much, but it is a lot more than you would expect from a hand as whack as this. Do note that this Whirlwind cannot be Vata. It can't be Vata, Harmattan, Auster, because then you won't have anything for Zephyros to bounce. It's really awkward, but it's just kind of how it is. But this leads to a Towers, a Tax Dragon, Monster Negate, and some follow-up by putting Shamal back into rotation. For our next combo, we'll be looking at Vata plus Black Feather Whirlwind. Specifically Black Feather Whirlwind and not Shamal, because you can't always guarantee that you'll get Shamal in Graveyard, as it can only set from deck, not from hand. This means that if you draw Feather Whirlwind, you have to get used to using it on its own and not having that add back that Shamal gets you, which can represent more extension or more interruption by adding back Chinook. Anyway, let's start things off by normal summoning Vata and then activating Feather Whirlwind and activating Vata, milling Zephyros and Chinook to go into Blackwing Dragon. That's going to trigger the Feather Whirlwind to summon back the Vata, then we'll Zephyros to bounce the Feather Whirlwind and summon itself, placing a counter on Blackwing Dragon instead of taking damage. Then we'll go to Black Feather Whirlwind and Berea Storm, which we will chain block to summon back Chinook and mill Sharnga. We'll go to Fuller Master, Tax Dragon, and that gives us a quick effect pop, a quick effect imperm, a Towers, and a Tax Dragon. This Tax Dragon is also providing battle protection for the Full Armor Master through Black Feather Whirlwind. So the only thing that really threatens this board specifically, or at least this Full Armor Master, is a monster that is able to punch over it. That's one of the best strengths of having the card. And it's really hard to make a monster with 3100 or more attack without activating monster effects, right? So more often than not, this Full Armor Master will be surviving to your next turn unless they have exactly a Kaiju, but they just won't have a Kaiju. That's the beautiful part of it. They just won't have a Kaiju. So anyway, that's the fun part, is that you get to protect the full armor master from from battle damage using this Whirlwind. But in a pinch, you can also use Chinook not as an imperm so much as also a weird sort of colute, using that 700 attack reduction instead of the effect negation as the primary part of it. Chinook is just so good. It's just such an important piece of this end board. It being able to send itself from field is just so useful for so much. Moving on, next up we've got a really awkward hand where we've drawn Zephyros. Thankfully this Whirlwind is going to salvage it, but we are still not happy to see Zephyros. We're going to activate Whirlwind and then normal summon Zephyros. That's going to trigger the Whirlwind to grab us a copy of Sharnga. Then we're going to special summon Vata, and Vata is going to mill a copy of Chinook and Sudri because we already have Zephyros in rotation for Blackwinged Dragon. Then we're going to special summon Sharnga. By the way, this Vata could also be Sharnga. Again, Whirlwind can represent whichever one you don't have. Anyway, we're going to synchro into Berea Storm, activating Berea Storm to mill a copy of Shamal. Then we're going to bounce Whirlwind for Zephyros to avoid taking a little bit of damage. We'll go to Onimaru, which will allow us to add Sudri back to hand using Shamal. Then we'll make the Onimaru level 2 and go into Nufang. That's going to burn for 800. Then we'll activate Whirlwind and extra normal the Sudri. Chainlink 1 Sudri, Chainlink 2 Whirlwind. We're going to grab Chinook. We're going to grab Twin Shadow. Then we're going to tribute off the Sudri for a Phantom Glimmer token. Take 700 more and go into Berserker. Well, Assault Dragon, and then during our opponent's turn, we can Twin Shadow for full armor master. And this gets us a pop from the Sharnga Engrave, a Imperm from the Chinook in hand, a Banish with the Berserker, a Towers, and a Tax Dragon. There's no battle protection here, but I mean, Chinook also functions as that, so it's not a big deal. And for our last combo, I've got a combo that showcases what happens if you draw all the little birds. So we're going to start things off by normal summoning Harmattan and then special summoning Vata, where then we're going to activate Vata's effect, milling Zephyros and Chinook to go into Blackwing Dragon. Then we'll special summon Sharnga and bounce the Harmattan for Zephyros. It's going to place a counter on Dragon. Then we're going to Berea Storm, mill Chinook, then special Harmattan, increasing its level to 4. Go into Dispather, go into Assault Dragon, and then Dispather is going to summon back Berea Storm and make a Towers. So this is Towers, Tax Dragon, Dispather, plus ample follow-up. That's the key part here. It is follow-up. We have the pop from Sharnga. We have the negate or destroy from Dispather. Usually the destruction, though, because we want to get our Blackwing Dragons back into rotation. Because, well, if we run out of Blackwing Dragons, we kind of run out of a lot of our plays. So we want to be able to use this Dispather to recycle our resources constantly. Obviously, you'd rather you get the monster negation, and if you're in a situation where you need it, you need it. But this guarantees that we'll at least be able to activate the effect by shuffling back a key extra deck monster. This isn't amazing, but it is good enough, and that's what counts, really. So, yeah, those were some of the weirder hands that I've opened at locals that I wish I knew how to manage in the moment. I was able to make it work most of the time. Thankfully, I've reached a point where I can just kind of understand intuitively how the pieces flow together, but I do get caught off guard sometimes by a funky 3 or 4 card combination, and it's important that I share it with you so that you don't. Hope you all enjoyed.